It'll take care of itself. Your worry of others, the economy around this fun thing will take care of itself. But I had reached a point at ESPN where I couldn't keep eating silence when I'm freedom first, voice first, and I'm too much about I've got to be able to speak freely. And so the muzzling was a different kind of unfulfilling. It was too much of a sacrifice of principles that I couldn't abide. I couldn't look myself in the mirror if I was living in a space where I had to sell out that. Obviously, like sell out in a way that I couldn't come up with a rationalization when I was looking in the mirror for what my family's about. And so I had to do it. And then it came with, when the discomfort arrived, what it felt like was just unsafe. Because it's not regret, but it's just like, oh my God, I could have been cashing checks, talking into a microphone for millions of dollars if I had just kept my head down, but not been able to live with myself.
If you didn't have respect for Dan Le Batard amid his split from ESPN and taking a chance on himself, you should now, because he spilled the beans in this episode of South Beach Sessions.
Do you think the ESPN brass regrets trying to muzzle people?
At Disney? I don't think that they want the headline. Why would they want the headlines around a sports program of sports host goes after Trump? Like, what do they need that for? It's a little bit easier to just hire Pat McAfee, give him $17 million a year, and he's probably not going to do that. I don't even think that I talk politics. What I've been talking about for many, many years has been race, and it gets hijacked. It gets turned into politics when all I feel like I'm doing, and I'm now viewed, I'm called libtard and woke. The Cuban community will call me gusano, worm, for being a traitor against the politics of my region here in South Florida. But all I think I've ever advocated for, which is now somehow a controversial position, is how about equality and decency for all?
I think what I appreciate most about this is he is being brutally honest with how he felt, like many of us do, being in the workplace and understanding that, you know what, I can't do this anymore. I can't be a part of the corporate cog that just continues to give everything, and I don't feel free internally. I don't feel free mentally. I am not happy emotionally. That's exactly what I see when I watch this, because we've all been there. And seeing how he is saying, Disney doesn't want to put up with someone like me. Disney doesn't want anyone to say, hey, what's going on right now is really messed up, and we need to say something about this. Do you remember when ESPN had Dan Le Batard on their programming, and he could not help himself after the Donald Trump rally, I'm forgetting where it was, when they told a Muslim congresswoman, Ilhan Omar of Minnesota, to send her back. And Dan Le Batard went through why this is extremely xenophobic and why no one should stay silent on it. And he was shunned for it. This is the same organization in ESPN that said, you know, we really don't want politics mixing with sports. Jimmy Pitaro, the president of ESPN, said as much. And then they let Stephen A. Smith do whatever he wants, whenever he wants, go on any show, what have you, have any guest on, from Clay Travis to Bill O'Reilly to Sean Hannity, xenophobic, racist, bigots, transphobes, election-denying scum of the earth. And ESPN is fine with it. You know why? It plays. These are not people like Dan Le Batard who questions the superiority of billionaires and capitalism controlling every single part of our lives, including our media. And some of us just raising our hands and saying, hey, by the way, this really isn't cool. We don't like what's going on. You know what we should do? Shine a light on all of those things instead of just staying silent and collecting the check. And look, whether some will view it as a shot or not, it is true that Pat McAfee is not going to go up there and say, why are people attacking trans folks when organizations like Save Women's Sports, as I've told you all about many times, in their own findings, they only found 5 cases of trans people competing at high school sports grades K through 12. Their own organization that peddles in fear, misinformation, dishonesty. Pat McAfee's not going to go up there and say that. He's going to book Aaron Rodgers and talk about how him having COVID feet is not a thing and pushing conspiracy theories and going after the woke mob when he misuses it again. It is safe. It is a safe play from ESPN. And there is a reason why Dan, with many things I'm sure he wanted to say but didn't, understands where he is as a person and how he just can't do it anymore. And frankly, I applaud that. And you should too.